Hello.
Look who we have here.
Antisocial Butterfly Podcast. We are here to inspire dreams and help you spread your wings to fly. Baby girl, it's okay to be shy. But now it's time to kiss fear goodbye.
Here's my one and only, my baby, my special guest, my favorite guest, my all-time favorite guest, Freddy Correa.
Hey.
Hi, baby.
Hey, baby. We are back.
Thank you so much for just making time and being here on episode 5 of the special Royal series. I wanted you to be on episode 5 because 5 is my favorite number.
That's your number, baby.
That's my number. And you watched the series. So thank you so much for also taking time to watch the series so we can talk about it today.
Yeah, it's been a cool series, and I didn't expect it to be that what do you call it? Not just interesting, but I didn't expect it to be one of those where they actually hook you in and you end up like, oh, I want to keep seeing more. I want to see more, you know?
I like to wear my tiara and this jacket you gave me as part of the series now. I've been wearing it for the last few episodes.
Oh, on every episode, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
And this is the tiara that I wore when we got married.
I didn't know they were called tiaras until you said it.
What did you think they were called?
It says tiara, and I Googled it. I thought tiara was that thing you put around you when you're bachelorette party or something, or
Oh, yes. No, that's like a slash, I think, or slosh. Not slosh. Slash. A birthday. What is? Now let me Google that. What is that called? Birthday.
Yeah, because I always hear people say, "Oh,
sash." I'm adding an L in there.
Yeah.
At least I was close. Can you believe I still have it?
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, where did we buy that? I forgot.
I have no idea. I was trying to remember. Oh. Was it part of a set when you bought it at David's Bridal when you bought the dress, my wedding dress? Like, did it come with a veil?
Maybe it was, yeah.
It had to. It had to come.
Where else would you buy tiaras? Tiara?
Yeah. Amazon didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
Well, on episode 4, it was the wedding, and Harry talks about as she's walking down the aisle. When I was walking down the aisle, what were some thoughts going through your mind, if you remember?
I do remember seeing you and just thinking, wow, this is like really happening. Just seeing you looking all beautiful and everything. It was just like, I don't know. I couldn't believe it. I actually felt like I didn't think it was real. Like reality had not sunk in yet. Even though the night before we stood up late getting the church ready for the ceremony and everything. I remember it crossing my mind, like, is this really happening? Is this really like, I couldn't believe it. It was just hectic. I guess that's how it is with everybody getting everything ready. No matter how prepared you are, everybody's running around like a chicken with no head.
Good segue here. That's exactly the feeling I feel. The theme of this episode for probably Meghan and Harry was feeling that chaos. Today's episode is brought to you by Maribel's Cosmetics. Make sure you head over to Maribel's Cosmetics right now. They have beautiful lashes, long-lasting liquid lipsticks. These lashes right here are so beautiful. They make a statement. The two that I want to show you today are Loca and Dramatic. I am actually wearing one of their lipsticks, and that is the color Poison right here. I am wearing it. If you want to save some money at checkout, make sure you use code Lissy15 at checkout. Now, let's get back into this week's episode. Meghan in the episode describes it as like the bubble burst on this episode, or like in her words, the floodgates opened. So a lot of drama continues on this episode, and we also sadly learn that they decide to leave their royal duties. And we want to get into a little bit why they did that, because they didn't just one day decide and wake up like, I'm just gonna leave. It took a lot for them to leave, as we'll learn. But I wanted to ask you, baby, in the beginning of the episode, there's a scene where their son is running around in this maze, this corn maze, which I want to do with you in Halloween, by the way. It's always been like a bucket list of mine, but I've always chickened myself out because I'm scared. But he's running around, and she says that she wanted to build for her family what she didn't have in her childhood. Most of her childhood, she felt like she was alone. So she wanted to build that with her family. And now that she's in the royal family,
build what?
She said she wanted to build, make her kids feel alone. Because she was only her and her mom for the most part. Almost like
Even
you and your mom.
She has a sister though, right?
Her sister was from her dad, from another mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she didn't grow up with her. It was really just she grew up by herself. Yeah. And then she knew of her, and then she would see her here and there. She could count with how many times in her hand, how many times she saw her. But that's the funny thing, because the sister says that supposedly she raised her. A lot of stories have come out by the sister, and on this episode, she continues to add more fuel to the flame. So she didn't have, a sister. That's what she always craved, to have that. And she thought, why can't I have that with my own half sister? And also she felt, because she was half white, half black, she didn't fit in the other part of feeling alone. So for the most part, she felt she wanted to build that with her kids and her family, was that, like having a lot of people around you. And so when she was part of the royal family, she said she was really excited to build that for her future kids, and really tried her best to fit in. So my question to you is, how was your childhood?
Well, I usually say I grew up pretty much like an only child, because my 3 siblings were already out of the house by the time I was like 4 to 6 years old. So after that, I mean, my toddler years, my baby years, a little bit of like kindergarten, first grade, my siblings were still home, and then one by one started leaving. So I pretty much ended up growing up the rest of my childhood and teenage years by myself. I always desired to have a sibling. It was always something that I wish I had. So I could see that. Like Meghan feeling that loneliness and desiring for her child to have a bigger family. Because my family is pretty small. I know I have my dad's side and my mom's side, but my immediate family, it was just us. My mom, my dad, and my siblings. And my siblings started having kids. So their kids, my nephews and nieces, specifically my nephews, because my 2 nephews that were born, I was a 4-year-old uncle by in 1986.
Yeah, you guys grew up really close.
So my first
in
nephew,
age.
my nephew was 4 years younger than me, so that became almost like my sibling. But we would not, at some points we were living in different cities, so I would hardly see them. And yeah, they were like my siblings, but I wish I had siblings. I do look back and I'm like, man, I wish I had siblings. Then people that grow up with siblings, sometimes they're like, man, I hate my siblings. So you never really have what you want, I guess.
That is true. It's only when you're lucky, when you have that perfect sibling, that you can say that, because there's people that have them and they're not happy. But she didn't have it. Yeah. She craved it. She had this opportunity by joining and being married to Harry. So she knew that having their future kid, that he was going to grow up with all these like little cousins around, and she didn't have that. Yeah. So her point in bringing that up was she really, really tried, because she knew she was bringing this life into the world, that she wanted to fit in more than ever. So the relationship with the family was something she had to prove herself to. She had to prove herself to her relationship with Harry, her relationship with the royal family, and now her relationship with the media.
I usually call him H, but I know you don't know him, so you could call him Harry if you want. You know how people combine names? Mm-hmm. Like Jennifer and Ben Affleck, Bennifer.
Yeah.
So their combination is pretty cool. It's H&M, like the store. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But how would you combine their name together, like Bennifer?
Harry and Meghan, Heron, or Mary? Because Harry, you just move the M over. It would not be a good one. H&M's perfect.
I think.
Yeah.
So her relationship with her dad, it didn't end up really great.
Well, on episode 4, it's crazy how I don't know what his deal was. Was he just chasing money and disregard for he was chasing the clout and betrayed his daughter pretty much. It's like a backstabbing almost. Because he decided to answer to all these interviews, getting paid for it, and then you don't show up to your daughter's wedding. I don't know how, it was too much friction, so at that point he didn't go, and she ended up getting walked down the aisle by I think at the time, well, now King Charles, pretty much.
Yeah,
right? Was that the person that walked her?
Good recap. That is, yes, the Harry's dad.
Yeah, so it reminds me of you when, because of issues of us getting married, your parents disagreeing, your dad wasn't there to walk you down the aisle, so it was my brother-in-law. Yeah, he's the one that actually officiated the wedding and married us, so that's pretty much almost something very similar to us. And I want to say similarities that I found, anybody who watches it, you find similarities in your own life with the show or not. But I found also him being born into royalty, into this family. It almost reminds me of us born in religion, like this world where we're surrounded by you being the pastor's daughter, and in a sense, it's almost like they expect you have a higher standard than other people because you're a PK, a pastor's kid. So in church, they would have you at a different regard as, oh, she should be the model of the rest of the kids in church and teenagers and stuff like that. And, and we ended up escaping that. And this is kind of what it reminds me of H&M, is that they ended up kind of escaping, their lifestyle.
Yeah, he was destined to follow this life, this way of essentially thinking and doing and breathing. And in the episode, they talk about what he tried to do to work things with them. He tried to have conversations with the family.
Episode 5, he was trying to talk to his grandma, the queen. And it's like, damn, just to get that set up, you have to go through all these different people to get it set up. And then I don't even know, did it end up happening?
They ended it up, meeting with the grandma, his dad, and the brother. Yeah. And
you would think that you could just pick up the phone and call your grandma.
No, not with the queen. And that's
so weird.
the thing that Meghan brings up is the difficulty of separating family with politics, or what looks good into the eyes of the public. And it's sad that got in the way of a relationship with a grandma with her grandson, that they couldn't have a one-on-one, because he did try to reach out to her one time and she said first, come over, and all of a sudden he gets there and then the people she works with says, no, she's not available, you can't speak to her. And he's like, what? And then he finally meets to her face to face, and he's like, "Oh well, they told me apparently I'm booked. I can't see you." So shady. It was like they knew he was coming probably and booked her calendar, or just said, "Hey, don't meet with him," because ultimately she is gonna protect. She's gonna do everything in her power to protect what they call the institution, the royal system. that she pledged in like episodes previous 2 and 3. Like they show videos of her very young that she pledged her like life and loyalty, like to keep this thing alive.
And that's all she knew at her time. Also, just like H, that's all she knew in her life. She was born into it. All she knew was anything that was around her was what she knew, and there was no internet at the time, so it's not like you explore and figure out how other people are living from other places and all that. The only thing you have is maybe movies.
Well, good thing you bring that up, baby, because I
shows.
learned what the Commonwealth is through this series. I had no idea what that was. So she's in charge or leads. She's the queen of not just London. She's like the leader of other countries, and so that they're called the Commonwealth.
Oh, like their territories.
They used to be led by them way long time ago in history, but instead of saying, "Hey, we don't lead you, or we're not going to be colonized, but you're not anymore. Now you're going to be like, in a sense, part of the Commonwealth, quote unquote."
Kind of like the way Puerto Rico is to the United States. Yeah, a territory.
They celebrate every year a Commonwealth celebration, and most of the Commonwealth is mostly black and brown people, is what they say. When Meghan came in, they said that it brought like an open door of hope that they were being represented in the royal system, which like almost they said had never been done before.
You know what? I've heard it. I've heard of it on the show, but I didn't really distinguish exactly what the Commonwealth was. It's interesting.
Yeah, let me look that up now that we brought it up. How many countries make up the common? Because it's very interesting. Because she's not only the queen of that. She 54.
Damn.
Wow.
54 countries that they have their hands in, pretty much.
I know Belize.
I think Belize is one of them. Like there's countries all over the world that they kind of were conquered by England, and I think even Hong Kong had a 1 year treaty, and it ended in the 90s or something like that. Like England was part of Hong Kong at one point.
Wow, you're a history nerd. You would know your stuff.
No, a little bit.
You know more than me, for sure. And I like how they sprinkle history in these series, because I'm not really into history. But it got me really interested in learning this part of history by how they did a well job, and just how they did this whole series, how they documented, how they sprinkle like the drama of their love story into history to teach you really the truth about a part of history that Britain is, in a sense, trying to hide, or is embarrassed about, or really kind of wants erased out of history.
What is that England's hiding stuff from their past, pretty much?
Slavery, basically. Yeah. How they treated them. Like none of that is taught in the history books. The only thing they really teach in the history book is that they abolished it.
I just looked it up. It looks they abolished slavery in 1833. We still had it in the United States until the 50s, I think.
Wow. When they abolished it, they rewarded the slave owners money. It wasn't until like recent, like 2015, that they stopped paying them.
So I just looked up also America. America ended slavery in 1865.
And the Queen funded campaigns and commercials for slaves. Queen Elizabeth did. I forget which one, but they do a timeline of all the kings and queens after that supported slaves happening until it was abolished. And so now present time with the system, really, like what does it really represent is what they're talking about. Is, you know, really the queen represents the Commonwealth, because really that's what their campaign is all about, is that we represent everybody. Well, you know, we had somebody who was different, who was part of what they call the Commonwealth, that kind of looked like them, and you didn't accept them. You turned them away. You almost made them want to kill themselves. She talks about she wanted to kill herself because of how bad it got. Now they're out, and now like this hope that they once had, it's gone.
Episode 5 pretty much focuses on their exit, pretty much.
The exit.
They had a name for it, Brexit or something. I forgot what it was called.
Oh yeah, Mexit. Well,
Mexit.
they talked about Mexit. That's what the trolls called it.
Yeah.
That she started it, or that she was in control of the influence of why they left.
Yeah, yeah. So they try to make Meghan kind of like that one girlfriend, that kind of woman that it's always, and it sucks because it's sexist, because it happens with men and girls. But you know that stereotypical woman that starts dating your friend, a guy friend or something, and then the guy's never hanging out anymore. So they kind of make her be that person, the media and everything. And I'm going to be honest, without watching this documentary series or docuseries, I kind of, like, from the little that I knew, I'm like, I kind of thought the same way. I'm like, oh, he married some girl, and then the girl takes him out of the whole serving the kingdom, and it's understandable how people could get that perception of her, because you don't know anything about them until you watch and do your research.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Research, but like, what is research when what we're being fed is what the media is giving us, and what the media is giving us is false, based on what their story is. Their story is barely being released in 2022 is when this got released.
Yeah.
And this happened years ago. So they kept quiet for many, many years. And they tried to make it work with the system, with the media, with the queen, with their family. So it's not like they were being rebels. He was already on his path. She says that he wouldn't have been able to fall in love with her if he wasn't already on his own journey. He always had felt this way as a child, like being harassed by the paparazzi, and then, you know, his mom dying, and, you know, the story goes on. And so now that he has a new love in his life, and she's different, and they can't accept her, the media is really the bad guy. If you think about, like, if you talk about, okay, who really is the bad guy in all of it? If we take this one out, will everything like fall into place? But I say the biggest like player in all of this madness is the media. Yeah. Why? They spreaded all the bad stuff about her, which caused her to get all this stress and depression and wanting to kill herself, because she always had to like defend herself and like prove that wasn't true. The media got her dad. The dad started making up stories after the wedding. So that's why she made a letter. She asked the queen, because the queen is like, you know, this is embarrassing what your dad is doing. You need to make it stop. And she's like, well, what do you suggest I do? She write a letter to him. So she does a 5-page letter, number 5. She writes a 5-page letter to her dad. And what happens? It gets released to the media. This personal letter between a father and her daughter. So the sister and the media, I feel if we took these two people out, most of the drama and the negativity in their lives, maybe they would still be in the royal system. I
think it's one of those things where, what can you do when the media is allowed to do whatever they want by the family, or the royal family? Don't they have hands in the media as well?
The relationship that the media has with the royal family. They have some kind of an unknown spoken contract that, hey, you give me stories, you make me look good, okay. And plus, the taxpayers, they pay the royal family, right? It's coming out of the people who live there in London. So they're like, okay, we have a right to then intrigue on this family and get stories because we're paying for them. So that's why for most of the part, all of their lives, they have to let the media know, okay, when we get married, when we have a baby, when like you guys are invited.
When Harry turns 3 years, we got to call the media to take pictures. They have to go out to the lawn and take pictures. That's crazy.
Yep. And that was like the turning point when they first noticed, like, whoa, when she had the baby. The tradition was at a specific hospital, a specific steps at a door, and to present the baby to the press. Yeah. And she's like, no, I have my own doctor here that I've known for all my life. They didn't present their baby the way that his brother did it. They did it 2 days after. And they all started ripping her apart from that. Like, oh, she's bashing the traditions of the royal.
Right.
You know, how dare she, disrespectful. And so now with her father spitting out this narrative and stories and releasing this letter, because she says that the signature that she got back, because she got an email, or not an email, like a confirmation, it wasn't his signature, like how he signs it. So it led me to believe the sister. The sister has a lot to do with what happened before on previous episodes.
Or his new wife, or somebody around him, right? That's influenced him to do this shit, to take money.
Well, they did an investigation. They hired this company to check out all the tweets, like 114,000 tweets. And they narrowed it down to just only 83 accounts. And these were not like fake accounts. These were like legit accounts that were spreading most of all the negative, 70% of the stories that reached the millions and millions of people. And guess who was the leader of this 83 group? The sister.
The sister, wow.
Yeah, they were planning, like they would get together and say, okay, we're going to release this story, we're going to release this photo, or how to like protect your IP address so that you wouldn't get caught. And then she would get her account banned.
So they proved that it was the sister behind all this stuff.
Meghan shows that she'd release a statement from her lawyer saying that someone hacked her account.
Huh. Okay.
So that's her story.
It's pretty crazy that the people that are closest to you sometimes could do the most harm. Or not that they were close, but you know, they're sisters, they're half sisters. Maybe they didn't grow up directly together, but it's someone that's, you know, related to them by blood, and you're doing this to your own person, your own family. That tends to happen with a lot of people. Dane Cook, the comic, his brother was ripping him off, and he ended up going to prison. He was his accountant, I believe, and he ended up ripping him off for millions of dollars. His own brother. He had to actually, when he found out that he was getting ripped off, he's like, where's my money going? He found out that his brother was like snagging money from him and had to put him in jail. He had to. And it's sad that this kind of stuff happens because we're human and we have flaws of being, you know, we have jealousy, we're selfish, we want more money, and we want to get over whoever we have to get our own way. It's sad that kind of stuff happens. And also,
but to your own daughter,
it's very sad. And at the same time, I don't want to just be, you know, oh well, what did Meghan do to her? That I will play the devil's advocate and say, well, we don't know exactly what the relationship was. We only know Meghan's story, or her side, right? But it's not good. You're doing that to your own daughter. And another thing I noticed also, like, I made the comparison to us being married and or, you know, growing up in a religious background. I guess this happens, history, it just repeats itself over and over in different families. You know, families in India that are forced to marry people they don't even know, and you know, those kind of what do you call those marriages? Preordained, or what do you call it? Preordained, prearranged marriages, yeah, stuff like that. It's like, and then you have to figure out your own way to get out of it. But that drama that comes along with the family, that sucks.
And Harry says that he understands his brother wanting to stay that path. He totally understands it. You know, he understands his grandma wanting to stay in there and protect what they want to protect. But he also needs to protect his own family. And when something's getting in the way of that, and he tries to go and create a solution, sadly, wow, there's like a numeric theme to this episode 5, and now another 5 I'm going to give you is when he went to meet with his brother, the queen, finally, and his dad, and the meeting didn't go well, sadly. they couldn't come to an agreement. They gave him 5 options. It's number 5. And basically option 1 was stay in, nothing changes. Number 5 is
usually it's just 2.
You go out. I know, right? They're like,
yeah, it's like we're gonna give you 30 options
here.
All right, you're gonna have to choose from these 30 options, or else you're not gonna get your way. You're gonna get one of these 30 options. Yeah, 5 is a lot of options. If I had 5 options on the menu, I would just stare at the menu. I wouldn't know what to choose.
Well, that's why we stare at the menu for your Cheesecake Factory for a long time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They don't have a lot of pictures, by the way. And I like to see pictures.
No, it doesn't help. Yeah. It doesn't help you making the selection.
I mean, just look how long it takes us to watch a movie when we say, oh, let's have movie night. If we haven't figured out what movie, we'll sit there and scroll through Netflix, through Hulu, go to YouTube, check out the preview, all right, let's add that to the list. And now we have a list of top 4 movies, and we still can't decide. I'm just saying it's a lot of options. So anyway, okay, so what was one? Let's start from the beginning.
He doesn't go over all the options they offer him when they finally have this meeting, but he says basically option 5 or 1 was you stay, nothing changes. Option 5 was you're out. And then he said, well, I'll go with option 3. I'm kind of in and I'm kind of out. So their proposition always was, we gave you time. We gave you plenty of time. This was like years of conversation. We want something different. We can't stay in London. So they were giving them talks of ideas of several places like South Africa, Canada. There was like 3 or 4 places that they suggested, like, we can carry the name of the work of the Queen here. We can live here. We'll be out of the media's eyes over there. You guys can be in the front papers, because that's what they wanted. You guys don't have to pay me anything, he even says. Because that's, once you get paid, then the media gets the rights to follow the royals, basically.
I see.
So
I see
they said,
because they're getting paid. So now it's like they own you now.
So they're like, no, we don't want you to own us. We'll carry the good work for free, basically. It gets leaked to the media, their options. And so they had to literally cross it off. They wanted him to say, it's just us, guys. It's just that we can't handle it. It's our issues. Instead of it's you guys. It's the media. It's X, Y, and Z. They couldn't accept that. And unfortunately, nothing was concluded positively, like no action plan. And so, sadly, it just got a little worse for them after that, when they said, okay, enough, is enough. And so what happens? Do you remember what happens at the end of the episode? That when they finally said, okay, I'm finally giving up.
Was this a quiz? Are you quizzing me to see if I really watched the episode? Is this what you're doing?
No, I could have asked you that so many times during the episode. I just wanted to know if you know the climatic point that you could share it with everyone. If you didn't rewatch it, I guess you gave it away.
I got defensive. No, I did watch. What do you mean I did watch it? I watched it 1.5 times, just so you know.
If you don't remember, you could say that too. It's okay. We're humans here. We can we can't remember every little detail of every little thing.
I don't remember exactly, but I do remember that it was the pandemic was about to hit, and no one really knows that the world's going to shut down exactly. And this is like March 10th, like 8 days before the world pretty much shut down. And they were trying to head out to Canada. They're trying to leave already. And can you imagine, like, they barely made it, because they ended up leaving right before, right?
Yeah, that's right before the ending of the episode. Because what's crazy, baby, is this is what trips me out. They finally said, okay, you're not going to get security. We're going to pull that off you. And he never thought in a million years that was going to happen, especially because of what was going on in their lives with the hatred, all the stuff that was arriving to the palace, like packages specifically in their name. So everything, they thought, no, they won't pull that. So he had only 3 weeks to find security for his family. And then, yes, the world shuts down. On top of that, what gets leaked? Their address of where they're gonna stay. And this is before they left to Canada, before like when COVID hit, when they were gonna do the shutdown. So he's like, no, we gotta get the hell out of here, especially now they know where they live.
That's insane that it got leaked, and I didn't even think about like putting into perspective. Not only did they lose security and a lot of privileges, or all the privileges, but money. Where does he get his money from now? Well, I mean, do you get paid as a prince? Do you get a paycheck, or you just always have everything at your hands, like Prince?
Well, not no more, because he doesn't have the duties no more. William.
Yeah, but like William. So does William just have a check every month, or like, does he always just have all these riches, all this money? Does he have a visa? That's what I'm trying to say, like his own Visa credit card.
He has a royal visa.
Like, because now that he's not funded, how does he make money? Does he have to go to work at a In-N-Out in Canada? Is there In-N-Out? Like.
I know, right?
Where are they making their money? I don't know, because I know she was an actress, right? So she was
an actress. So I don't know. Well, they're making money definitely from this Netflix series. They got millions, I think, from this deal. I don't know how much. We can look that up. But
it would be pennies
money
compared
there
to the money you have in royalty, though.
Oh, I imagine. And then he just released a book. We can plug that book. It got like #1. I don't know if it was on Amazon or New York's best time seller.
I was just going to say, I don't know his last name, and I just read it. Duke of Sussex. Is that his last name? Prince Harry,
that's
Duke
like the title.
What's Prince Harry's? Oh.
That's their title, Duke of Sussex. I can't say it. In that last episode, I said I can't pronounce that. Sussex.
Oh, so his name is William.
I pronounced it.
Oh, his name is Henry Charles Albert
Prince
David.
Harry.
Wow, yes.
That's his full name.
So wait a minute. No, hold on
What?
a second. So Prince Harry, his first name is Henry.
Prince.
So Henry
What?
Charles Albert David, yeah. But he goes by Harry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Henry Charles
And I
Albert
thought
David.
Harry
Oh,
was short
yeah.
for Harrison. Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow. I
thought
did not
Harry
know
was
that
short
all
for
this time,
Harrison.
baby. Look at you teaching me
Henry
something.
Charles Albert. And
Oh,
most
my God. And
oh, go ahead.
go with your detail. Just remind me with #5, the theme, because there's another detail I read about him, and it talks about #5.
Well, he has 4 first names. I was just going to say there's similarities with people that have only first names, even as a last name, are usually, like, they're not all usually, but some pop out that were killers. Like the one that, the guy that killed Abraham Lincoln, it had all 3 first names. Let me see. Man, so hold that thought. Killed Lincoln.
I never knew that fact.
Yeah.
Or conspiracy.
So the man
Would you call that a conspiracy?
I don't know no, I wouldn't say it's a conspiracy, but his name was John Wilkes Booth. So he had 3 names, and also the man that killed Kennedy had 3 names, and his name was oh man, sorry, I don't want to open up a can of worms here, but Fudge? Who says Fudge? Wayne, what's his name? The guy that he was a serial killer. He would dress up like a clown. Also, he had all first names. I can't. Oh, Lee Harvey Oswald. He's the one that killed Kennedy. So I just thought it was interesting.
Okay, well, I can't
Harry
picture
has
Harry
4.
to be a.
I think what I'm trying to say is Prince Harry is a killer. He's an assassin. And you just don't know.
No, because he has 4. It's only 3 that makes him a killer.
All right, I stand corrected. My theory just got shot down.
Yay, he's not a killer. I'm on team H&M. Don't mess with H&M.
What was your thought about the 5?
Oh, yeah, the 5. And then I want to just wrap it up here with #5. So in his details, he is the 5th in line of succession to the British throne. And not no more, because he said bye. But he was #5.
Yeah. Damn.
So another similarity, right? Like for us being on our path with going to church, it's hard to get out, and he got out. And now he's living freely, quote unquote, freely, telling his truth that he kept a secret for so long, and how they painted a picture of his wife that wasn't true. And also tell a story of a part of history in Britain that's not really told, to maybe hopefully cause some discussions and some change that needs to happen in the royal system.
And I think it's good for people that don't pay a lot of attention or really know too much about like commonwealth. We hear that word all the time, and it's like, I didn't know shit about commonwealth. I know exactly what that meant. So I think this is a good show that people will learn from it and see the other side of the story, because most people just think she's not a homewrecker, but like a family, a person that comes in and just swoops the son, or or the guy that comes in and takes the girl out of her family, that kind of thing.
And that's where I get emotional, because she says they truly did not want to leave. They truly wanted to make this work for the Commonwealth. They had so many visions, so many plans. And it was bittersweet for that last week when they were there. With tears, talks about that when you invest so much energy in something so hateful, like what can that grow to? And all this hate that the media was bringing on her and causing unreal people to like want to kill her. And she said, like, I'm a mom now. Like I don't feel safe now. Are my babies safe? And you're doing this for what? For a story? It's very emotional there, because like, yeah, this is her life here. Like everyone deserves to have whoa, why am I getting all emotional here? Jesus. Woo. Everyone deserves to like live in, happiness and peace.
Yeah, and
I don't know why
I'm
crying.
Well, it's just that it's something you could relate to, and I think a lot of people relate to it. How they're trying to live their love life, their family, they brought a kid into this world, and they're trying to raise them as parents their way, but it's like, oh, now we have to have all these restrictions, all these. I was gonna say this earlier, and I just remembered again. Their life reminds me a lot of the Truman Show, the movie, where
why?
Like a forced Truman Show, it's a forced simulation that they're living in. Like, okay, you're gonna marry my our Harry. Now you're gonna be forced to live our way right here. This is the new world. This is the new reality for you, and this is what you have to do now. In order to do this, you have to do that first, and all these rules and all these things that they have to put up with. And then remember when Jim Carrey in the Truman Show, he finds out he's living in this fake world, and they're always seeing him. There's cameras pointing at him because he was a TV show, pretty much for entertainment for the people, and they were pretty much selfishly using his life for that. It reminds me of that. Of
baby,
Prince
that's
Harry,
so good that you talk about that. Yes.
Like Prince Harry and Meghan, they're both pretty much their entertainment. Oh, this is the new marriage. She's not all the way white. She's half black. There was a lot of interesting things for them, and of course the media is going to go in there and tear shit up. They ended up pretty much killing Princess Diana, his mom, and he's like, no, fuck that. I'm not going to put up with this. I'm not going to let this happen now to my family. And now he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna start being an immigrant somewhere else. Where are they living in Canada? Is she Canadian?
Well, she grew up in LA, but
I think she's originally
I don't think
from Canada.
No, I don't think is Meghan. And I don't know how to pronounce her name. Is it Marco or Merkel? Because I've been saying Marco, but no, last name Marco.
I thought it was Marco.
No, it's with a
Marco.
K, baby. Marco.
Oh, I don't know.
But let me see. Where does H&M live? Where does Harry and
Meghan
live?
live. It's gonna give you their address.
What?
They already
true.
been doxxed. Well, they already got
They
doxxed.
live in Santa
Remember,
Barbara?
California?
They're residents in Santa Barbara, California, but it took them a while to land there. After so long of someone not being happy and like not living their truth and not living their life, like Harry, like he's lived under this microscope for like so long for the media for 30 plus years, and he's trying to like please them. What do I have to do? What do I have to wear? Who do I have to see? What event do I have to go to? And then growing up in that as a teenager, when you're trying to figure it out, and then losing your mom, and then you still have to be nice to them after they kill your mom. Like what resentment and anger that builds for just anybody, a young boy. And you know, of course, he had to escape to South Africa and volunteer there and escape from the media. He did that immediately after his mom died, and years still goes over there to visit, to grow up in that and to say, you know, enough is enough. Like they both deserve to live just like any common person and go into their house and be happy and unwind. Like mentally, like they need that. For any human needs that to like go on in this crazy life, and they can't have that.
Yeah, it's a Netflix special. Docu-series, and they're telling their side of the story. However, if you look up on YouTube, there's a bunch of people saying, oh, they just wanted to do a reality show, they wanted to have their own thing. Why are they recording? They knew they were going to put out a docu-series because they're recording themselves when they're in Canada in the garage, and there's video like, oh, they mounted those cameras purposely. Like, there's so much criticism about it. And a lot of things where they supposedly they catch her lying. They're still at it. The media's still going at it. Not just the media, but like the YouTube. There's YouTubers out there making all these negative videos about them and stuff. There's videos of thumbnails of her with the nose long like Pinocchio, pretty much saying that she's a liar. I saw a few of them like that.
Wow. Well,
yeah.
The truth is that they have now their side of the story out there, whether it be true or not. They never had this part of their story told before. So regardless of what people have to say, of why they're doing it, their intention, like, no, you can't really judge someone's intentions because you really don't know. You really don't know unless you're that person. You can judge maybe what they're doing. I mean, not judge, but you can maybe make an assumption based on the actions, but you really can't 100%. Oh, I know their intentions. I just know that they've never had their story told. And just like they say, you can make your decision, whatever, after that. We're just here to finally tell our side of the story. The
first time that she was able to tell her side was that Oprah interview, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Oprah was at the wedding when things were good. So they always had a relationship with Oprah. So it's not like they called Oprah, we're out of the royal system, we need to tell our story, Oprah, like make an interview. Yeah. Maybe it happened that way, but they had a relationship with her already in the past. For her to get invited to be at the wedding, I mean, they had some sort of... But that was
the first time opening up about stuff. Like, before this documentary, that was the first time she opened up, I guess. It was with Oprah.
And something that I want to share with you, baby, and everybody listening and watching is, you know, no matter what people may say about you, whether you're in the royal system, whether you're just an average person like us, people are always going to have something to say about you. When they were meditating in this series, because of everything that going around that they couldn't control of what people were saying and think about them, this person who was guiding their meditation, I wrote it down because it's very powerful for us to continually to remind ourselves, and I wanted to share it with you, baby. I have it here on my notes here. It says, remember that what is transpiring in the media is an illusion. When you try to prove you are good, you are feeding the monster. You are taking the bait. It's all an illusion. Your work is not to prove your goodness. You know who you are. So basically, do not prove yourself to nobody. You know who you are, and the stories around you, they're always going to be floating around. But that's all an illusion.
Yeah, that's true. And you see that time and time again when people get canceled. They'll, like, some of them will apologize or do, if they do apologize or not. But then that doesn't satisfy the monster. They want more. They want more. Mm-hmm. And once you give them the apology, or it's like, no, I'm done. I already did what I had to do. That's just, I know we're wrapping up, but just to give you another example is Kevin Hart, when they brought up old tweets that he had been homophobic, making homophobic jokes on Twitter. They brought it back. He had apologized. He's like, all right, I'm going to apologize again because it came back. But that's it. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I already made my apology. I already said what I had to say. And did it satisfy the monster? No. They wanted more. They wanted more. There's even an interview with that guy that used to be Kelly Ripa's co-host, the black dude that used to play football. He tried to get Kevin Hart to talk about it. Kevin Hart kept saying, I already talked about that, so I'm done talking about that. And then he kept trying to bait him. It's a great clip. If anybody looks it up, look up Kevin Hart being interviewed about the whole, I think it was Good Morning America, one of those shows. You could find it. And he just totally shuts him down. Because he knew that that's not going to be enough for them. So that quote right there that you said, it's perfect. Because they said their piece, they did already, but people are still going to be trying to tear down H&M. And you know what?
Yeah.
We're going to have their backs because they're going to do our podcast.
Yes, they'll do a swap cast on both Thanks for the Invite podcast and Antisocial Butterfly. Yeah, I think they did.
This was cool to do something like this, and we wanted to do something similar when watching movies and shows and do like reviews, This is something that we wanted to do for a while, so this could be the beginning of a lot of future episodes like this. I found their podcast, by the way.
Oh, cool. What is it called?
It's called Arkwell Audio. And Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Yeah.
I like how you say it.
And there's another one. Yeah, there's another one called When Meghan Met Harry.
Thank you for sharing that.
No, you're welcome. No, this is not their official one. The one I told you is their official one. Arkwell.
Arkwell
Audio.
Okay.
Arkwell Audio. Yeah.
Well,
thanks, baby.
Check out
thanks for having me on the podcast.
Arkwell Audio. Yes, baby. Thank you. Check out also Thanks for the Invite podcast with Freddy Correa. Catch it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. And why not search up Antisocial Butterfly there and leave a review, subscribe, do all the beautiful wonders that you do. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Thanks, baby.
Hell yeah. Thank you.